So it's been a good introduction to a lot of conversations, and we co-host it. But it's hard to get it less than 30 minutes, man. When you cover this thing on the 33 slides they give you on EXP Explorer, if you do it all by the book, which is the way that we do it, I think we got our video edited down to 35 minutes, where you take out all the breathing and just a couple seconds missed. But I don't know how we'd get under 30.
Brent's at 38, but his webinar that he did, now he's cut it down to 17 slides. He only uses 17 out of the 33, but so he's cut it. He had a 28-minute webinar, but now we're at 38 minutes because he told a couple stories, which is nice to have in there.
Yeah, those are as important as the slides.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, well, I think we've already started the class because this is stuff that people love. So, yeah, take it away, man.
So rock and roll. Okay. So, thank you everybody for attending this. My name is Rich Tomasini. I've been with EXP for 26 months as of right now. And this dapper-looking gentleman to the left of the stage is Barry Pulver in the purple suit. And Barry's, at this point now, a close friend of mine through the EXP journey. He's a level 1, but that would never be used to describe him. He's actually the gentleman who opened up the UK for EXP. He had reached out to Adam Day. I'll have him tell the story. So he's going to come over here and got a little clap there from Canada. Thank you. So he's going to come up here and tell you how it went, because they went on a road trip. Jason Gessing, Adam Day, Barry Pulver, and Adam's assistant Olivia tracked many miles through the UK countryside and did I think it was a 5-city tour. I'll let him correct the details on that. But while people are still filtering in, because we're on realtor time, I will start off in any of the UK update, and then I'll bring Barry up in about 5 minutes, and then we can kind of do a Q&A together if you have any questions. But I'll give you my resume. So I've been in real estate for 21 years. I was a real estate appraiser for 8 years prior to getting my license to sell real estate when I moved from South Florida to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2005. I got licensed in 06, and the market crashed in 07. And between 07 and when I came over in 2017, I sold a little over $500 million of real estate, and I was a listing agent. And I looked at this model, and I was exhausted. I was 40 years old at the time. And I said, I've got to do something to supplement our retirement, because I can't imagine having to do the last 20 years over again. So with very little bit of downside and a lot of upside, I decided to jump in and partake in this revenue share concept. So right now I have 49 level 1s. I have 39 of them are 4 qualifiers. So one more and I can open up the level 7, which I don't have many people in that yet. I have 750 agents in 24 states, and thanks to Barry Pulver, now outside of the United States, into the UK as well. I have been very diligent about doing this revenue share part. We've used a couple different strategies to grow this thing. I'm going to kind of give you just a real quick layout of what we do, and then kind of maybe a little bit of a 1-2 punch that you can apply and do it right away. Because there is no magic script, and nobody has figured this out. We just have people that are doing it intensely, doing it pretty hard, or not doing that at all, but nobody's figured this out. Brent Gove's probably the closest thing we have to a black belt, but in 5 years, he'll, I'm sure, tell you that he was still learning along the way, because it's an interesting process getting people to make a professional divorce happen and come over to a virtual real estate company and to feel connected. And there's a lot of things that we have to do to help make that happen, because it is possible, and you can thrive that way. So we started with a lunch and learn. My sponsor was Bill Price. He came over here. His sponsor was Craig and Shelley, Craig LePage and Shelley Johnson. And their sponsor was AJ Maida. And they all were relatively new at this concept of EXP. Craig and Shelley were building out their office and still selling a ton of real estate. And Bill was impatient, waiting for everybody to get going on this thing. Not that they were slowing it up. They were just busy selling real estate. That's what we do. Upfitting an office. I think AJ was selling his team at the time. So Bill was impatiently at my house saying, we're going to do a lunch and learn. I need to start building this thing. So I guess the aspect that I brought to it was I packed the seats. Bill came up with the concept of the lunch and learn off Brent Gove, and actually made it happen. I packed the seats with pretty good talent in there. And then we built off that one to where we had at one point 13 lunch and learns going on at once. Then we implemented big events every quarter. Jason Gessing was our first guest, very gracious of him. In January 2018, he came over to Charlotte. We packed a room of about 150, 60 agents in there, which was very exciting. And, we've had as many as 400 agents as this thing has grown attend these events. Glenn Sanford and Gene Frederick are coming on January 27th in the greater Charlotte area. So if you have anybody or you want to visit, that would be a great event to come attend. We should have 1,000 people there. So we did those, and then we created Zoom calls because not everybody wants to be seen at a lunch and learn, and not everybody's local. And the Zoom calls, I have to credit Barry Pulver and I have been doing them together religiously. And Barry's got a wonderful London accent, so that certainly helps the experience. And we break it in half, and we're kind of professional tango dancers at this point. We've been working together for so long. So we have that component as well. And those are on Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and everybody here is invited. You could just message me on work chat and I'll send you the Zoom link, and it's the same Zoom link every time. I'll explain the model, and if you like it, you can invite your prospects over there. We've never had anybody stolen. There's no poaching in our group. Believe in good leadership, and I try not to make sure everybody's fairly addressed here. It's not a perfect working system, but we haven't had any issues with the Zoom call. So it's open to everybody at EXP. As far as the day-to-day, I think having conversations with your agents that you do cross sales with, and agents that your vendors use, and agents that or that sold houses in other markets for family members and friends and colleagues and all the rest of them, are good people to talk to. And I think that what we need to do is not sell over the phone. I think that's a poor way of handling this. People make this decision emotionally, and then they validate it with logic to their friends and family after they decided, but it's a very emotional decision. So you have to talk about emotional trigger points that so many of us are exhausted with, but never really do anything to solve the problems. I mean, if you do this long enough, you know for sure that you're exhausted selling real estate all the time, right? I mean, it's 24/7. Every time you go on vacation, your cell phone blows up. You're on vacation in another geography in the most beautiful backdrop ever on your cell phone, and your spouse or partner is rolling their eyes and really hating the fact that you brought work with you. So being that this business is so 24/7, I think it's a very good thing to talk about what is your end game. I ran the second biggest team for RE/MAX in the state of North Carolina when I was 29, 30 years old. It was called the Synergy Group. And they sold our numbers to everybody. And they were like, oh, do you know the Synergy Group? They're here. They came and dragged agents through our office and promoted the company. And when we left RE/MAX, we left with a box of our contents. We were pretty much leasing our careers. We had no equity in the company that we had spent 16, 17 hours a day at. So I like that about EXP. We have the ability to get more and more shares of stock. And I thought that was something that other agents could use, especially in the sense that it's a stock that is being propelled by 24,000 of us, right? And more each day, 1,500 agents a month we're growing. So I find that to be an attractive piece. The second part that I thought was quite interesting is real-time support. I mean, we are an impatient society. Most of the stuff that we are looking for answers for, we want it in the next few minutes. And I like that cloud campus where you can get real-time support from not only your state brokers, but every different respective accounting and other department that you can imagine. I had a problem with my MacBook. They went in there and hijacked my MacBook, fixed my computer, and sent me off without any bill. That's an unusual feature, right? And then the last part is the revenue share. I mean, imagine if you can grow your teams across state lines and be able to work together with other owners that are now agents and not on your team necessarily, but within your organization. And you can collaborate and build something strong. And that's been very exciting here. In Charlotte, North Carolina, when I came over to EXP in August of 2017, we had sold $60 million of business in our Charlotte MLS, which is about 15,000 agents. In 2018, we moved the needle to 150 million. In 2019, we're over $1 billion sold with a #1 producing office in the Charlotte MLS. And the way that we were able to do that is that we went after great agents and built great relationships with them. And we have the best pool of agents that you can imagine in Charlotte. I'm not saying we're the best in the country. I'm just saying as a collective group, there are some real superstars at our events. And there's a lot of agents that are not the top producing agents, that are just the high quality people and the glue that keeps the culture and the reputation at a very high level. So everybody's very important. So that's the way that I looked at this model. When you're talking to agents, you have to talk about emotional points. Are you guys properly saving for retirement? Do you feel like that retirement plan is past your energy level, right? Do you have all your eggs in one basket? If I got diagnosed with an illness, then my gross commission income in 2017 was $405,000, and I was really pretty much one sick day from that being zero. If something happened to me, it would have gone down to nothing. And that kind of vulnerability is what stresses us out as 1099s. And I know I was fed up with it. That's why my avatar hair is gray, because that's what it did to me. And I know a lot of you guys could use some ancillary income coming in. So the stock and the revenue share was something that I never ignored. And I pretty much took the Brent Gove recipe, right? I mean, this is a guy who's doing it at a very high level, him and James. So why would I sit there and change it up? I punched out time to where I could go on the offense, and I did some proper time management and time blocking. And I called agents that I had cross sales with, and my whole goal was to add 2 new agents a month. And in addition to adding new agents, I went after very, very productive agents. Probably just because it's sort of a life strategy for me. My wife is much prettier than you would expect her to be if you had met me individually. So I figured if I was going to get a no, I was going to get a no from the people who I would be extraordinarily excited if I got a yes from. So I went after some great agents like Barry, sitting to my right, to your left, and we started to grow this thing. And we do the Zoom calls to help all of our agents grow so they could focus on selling real estate. They don't have to focus on attracting agents. So it's an invitation, not a presentation. Someone said that, I'll quote it. And you don't want to present it over the phone. You just want to get them to a place where they can sit back, have a paradigm shift, change from being the technician into the entrepreneur, and listen to what's available for us out here. So I've soaked up a little bit of time here, just trying to give you some basic fundamentals of the framework of what my mentality is as I continue to grow this. We're adding about 45 agents a month, and I'm doubling in size about every 8 or 9 months or so. So we're pretty excited what's going on. I stopped selling real estate this year, which was really exciting, very nerve-wracking, still very nervous about that, quite honestly. But I couldn't support all of our agents and help close big teams over if I was working another job. So I kind of just took the leap of faith on that. And I don't mind failing in life. I hope it works out. If it doesn't, at least I know I put it on the table there. So let me bring Barry up to the podium in his wonderful purple suit and have him give you an idea of what happened here. So I haven't talked to my friend here very much outside of WhatsApp. Nice moves, man. Barry was in the UK last week launching this thing, and let's get an update. This will be an update for me too, firsthand with you guys. So you heard it here first. What does the UK look like? How did it come to fruition? Barry, come on over. I know you're an articulate guy. I'm not going to set you up with too many questions. Just speak freely.
Well, cheers, Rich. You also know I'm the least underprepared or the most underprepared person in this company. But one thing I do want to say as well, I am particularly fortunate. I know you said you didn't want to say, our group here in Charlotte is the best in America, which is fair. But, without Rich's support and just some of the names and people that he said, it's been imperative to our growth locally, to be the #1 producing company locally, but more importantly, to get us on the international map and stage. So, yes, I do have a London accent. It doesn't work quite so well for me in the UK and in London. So you could say it's a bit overrated. My wife would too. However, I know Adam's in the room, but it's also, bear in mind, almost 8 o'clock. So he's going to be putting his kids to bed, but he did just want to join us in here secretively. So with that said, he did something earlier today, which I had the honor of flying over separately with Jason to launch the UK, and you were very close, Rich. We did 4 events around the UK. We started in Leeds up north, went to Birmingham, Bristol, and we ended up in London, which honestly we probably had a good just over 100 people at one of a fantastic hotel in London. Adam put this up earlier. It was 572 miles for 4 cities. All in all, we had about 209 people who came to see us. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. You know, right now, Adam has about 3 people signed up directly, 14 pending, including some of the biggest names in the industry. And that's kind of a quick overview of what happened this last week. Richie, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
So, I hear you well. One thing I would say as well with the events is that you have to understand the UK mentality, the industry. We speak similar languages to what we do here in America, and I'm honored to be here in North Carolina as well, but it could not be further from the truth and further different as well. You know, so you have to understand, maybe 90, I'm making up the percentage, but a very high percentage of real estate agents, estate agents over in the UK are employees. So to have 209 people attend these events where effectively their boss, thank you, Adam, their boss could be right next to them and could be watching over their shoulder and watching their employee watch a new estate agency company in town, a model called EXP come, it would be pretty daunting. I don't know if I were some of the people that joined us as an employee, if I would have come and joined us. And when we're talking about 95% of people are that way, you know, just the attendance was absolutely incredible. The feedback was absolutely incredible. And in Bristol in particular, not only did we sell out the events, but we probably started about 6:30, 6:45 in the evening after work time. Come about 9:15 in the evening, we were still answering questions. There was just such an appetite, and it was absolutely undeniable. I mean, it was absolutely incredible to be there in person. Jason, who will be giving his thoughts when he is less jet lagged, now he's back in the northeast of the country, will be kind of putting things out there, and I will be too, and Adam will be as well. And it was just an absolutely incredible event, and to see all of us, part of the EXP family, really benefiting from this international expansion in Australia in just a couple of weeks' time, which it could not be more of an exciting time, honestly, to be a shareholder and to be in business here with EXP for each and every single one of us.
So let me ask you guys, what was some of the feedback that you got from these UK agents that were looking at this model for the first time?
Great question. You know, so the number one, and we have to be honest, you know, if we came in 5 years ago to bring this model to the UK, I can speak on his behalf, but I know Adam would have taken the position that we would have been far too early for the market. You know, there's a small company in the UK called Keller Williams who is there. They've been there about 4 years or so that have very small traction. There's other companies which you would be familiar with, the likes of Remax and Century 21, to a very, very small extent. But now is the right time, and I think people saw the value and saw the opportunity with what we're offering, a model which is very similar to what we have as realtors here in America. And I think people saw this as an incredible timing and the right time to come into the marketplace, and people see the value. It's just, you know, are they able and are they willing to back themselves, much like you were saying, which like all of us have to do every single day, are they willing to back themselves to a level now where they want to go and, you know, remove their salary and basically jump 2 feet into the deep end and take the leap here with us?
So for all of the agents that are not aware of the UK model, almost all of them are employed. They're not 1099s like us. So not only do they have to look at this platform and its differences between the model, but they had to branch on out and become self-employed at the very exact moment.
Which is a very big thing. Again, if you're coming to an event, you know, if you're curious, and, you know, we do these webinars, course, and that's a great way for people to get on and learn about the model, but people sometimes want to ask questions and be there firsthand. But, you know, if you're doing so at an event, one of 4 around the country for the first time ever, do you want to be sat next to your boss? The honest answer probably for most people is going to be no. But we had some incredibly influential people and incredibly successful estate agents come and join us, even with that being the case. So it's a huge difference. I mean, the models, again, we speak a similar language, but we cannot be more honest with the fact that the industry could not be more different in the UK to America. You know, Australia has similarities and other models and other countries around the world do, but the UK and the American market could not be more different.
Could you expand on how many agents have come over officially in the UK and how many estate properties we have marketed, roughly?
So what I would say, my understanding right now, and bear in mind we're all slightly jet lagged fresh of what's happened. So we've had about 33 people officially sign up with us when Adam put out there as we were just figuring out if the UK would be feasible and if we were going to go out there. You know, the original was 10 people. So we're at 33 people. There's about 13 or 14 people pending in the system, waiting to be approved and go through some checks, etc. And there's also some big names and some other people who are part of this too. But honestly, one question I have all the time is about international expansion. How do I do it? You know, how does it work? The honest answer has to be the same thing that Jason Gessinger said since the very beginning. It's not, and you know this, and I think this is a licensed realtor. If I'm selling a house, it's not the market, it's the marketing. Likewise, if we're looking to expand into a new market around America or a new market around the world, it's not particularly the market, it's having a right person in place. Fortunately, each and every single one of us, we do, and that is here with Adam Day, who I'm sure you've seen on the stage before.
You know what's very cool to me is, Barry, can you give everybody here an idea of how long you've been in real estate and kind of what that journey has looked like? Because I think a lot of people say, oh, it's easy if Brent Gove does it, or one of these really well-known agents that have been in the business for a long time with a lot of contacts. I think it's quite interesting how your vision wasn't ever tempered by your, lack of decades in this business.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, because transparency is one of our key core values, if you will. So I have only been at EXP, I've been since the summer of last year, so probably a year and a quarter. I have been a full-time real estate agent for around about 3.5 years. That is that's it, and I moved to America 9 years ago this month.
So, and then not only has Barry been able to build a relationship with Adam and help negotiate this launch and support and fly over there and be part of that conversation, but in addition to that, his volume has gone way up here. He's been busier than ever selling houses. So he's moonlighting as a real estate agent that's quite busy in its own right.
And that's one of the great things about this model, which I just kind of want to chime in, you know, with support and what we have, not only through the revenue share. I mean, I've never experienced support with Rich and all the guys who have kind of brought us into the company here, but just through the system that we literally see here all across the world, as the case may be in the Red Hook right now. The support that we have from the staff is unbelievable. You know, Jason Gessing's been fantastic in this. All of the board members and everybody from the international side has been incredible, but we're nowhere without support. Rich, just before I flew back last week to the UK, I think on Friday, you personally gave me a call and said, hey, listen, let me know what's going on with the deals. Do you need any help? I'm here to help you. I never got that anywhere else, you know, and I wouldn't expect it. But I mean, the help that you have given me and all our team here has been absolutely incredible. So, you know, the great thing about this company is the opportunity. I wouldn't be stood here on a stage under 4 years full-time real estate license with a global international real estate team if it wasn't for the opportunity. But more importantly, without the support, I mean, I'm just very humbled and honored. You know, that's one of the things I have to say from last week. Truly humbled and honored by the opportunity, but the support that all of us as shareholders have is incredible.
Hey, forgive me for interrupting. Can everyone move on? There's a lot of feedback. It's really difficult to hear what Rich and Barry are saying. They're saying some really good stuff.
Well, now I have to say it a bit better, Tom. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I apologize. It's just this feedback is really good. A few comments. So,
hey Tom, has that improved at all?
Keep talking.
If it's improved a bit right now, I think maybe we have the microphone thing under wraps. Okay. So we have 5 minutes left. I mean, I'm in no rush here, but I've heard every objection you could hear in this business of why people want to stay in a comfortable place, despite the fact that they might be setting themselves up for failure, for retirement, or for any catastrophe. And I've worked around 1,000 conditions that they would come over if we were able to understand where their parts that they won't compromise are, and build a plan around their non-negotiables. Does anybody feel like asking a question, or does anybody need any help or a different perspective on how to handle any of this stuff?
Hey, Rich, while people just kind of maybe think or look at their notes and ask a question, one thing I wanted to point out too, just in terms of how real the opportunity is and the appetite for what's going on in the UK. Adam prompted me, I forgot to mention, again, we're not successful if we don't sell more homes than anybody else to a higher level. So we officially launched on Friday, this past Friday. We soft launched, if you will, about a month before that. But right now, again, there's no MLS and the market's very different in the UK. But today, we have 88 homes on the market, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's insane. And, you know, I mean, I don't like building relationships based on praise and compliments. I'm always uncomfortable when I get them. But Barry and Adam have done a very good job here. I mean, I wouldn't trade Jason Guessing, Adam Day, and Barry Pulver going into any meeting and feeling quite comfortable that we had our best foot forward in any of those. So it's been a real trifecta of talent and care and vision. These guys have done a really, really good job on this. I mean, that's a lot of listings for a new model in a new country. Thank you. Awesome for the applause. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask? I put a couple things on some of the chat messages. I think that's where I got messed up on my mic. I forgot to shut it off. But I put my Zoom link. My phone number is 833-EXP Realty. Of course, there's too many digits there. So EXPREAL. You can transfer the digits. That's our Zoom call. Barry and I do every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I also put a YouTube link where I talk about the virtual brokerage. We're releasing a whole new take on Reservoir Dogs that talks about the healthcare and the iBuyer and the virtual office that will be launched on our Facebook. So if I don't confirm you on Facebook, it's because I met my 5,000 people that I was supposed to have on there. So please don't think that I'm a big shot. I just followed my marketing guy's advice. And but we'll post it on there. We'll probably post it on Workplace. The Zoom call is at 7 o'clock every Tuesday night. So we'll do it tomorrow at 7. I've got a couple questions, Dale. I would love advice on how to track since I don't sell real estate. I have a coaching training company that teaches higher level sales dialogue. So I have a great audience. Okay, so it's pretty easy, I think, on this. We've got a bunch of ways to approach this. What a lot of people do is you come over to EXP and you start throwing up on people. You start telling them about all the things that you love. Most of the time, you can't even get your story out. You're like, oh, you get stock, we got revenue share, you get, $28 per capping agent, and we go on and on and on. And I think we've all done that, and it's awful. It's just awful. And I think that's something that we're gonna have to combat as a company. We've all messed this up. So where I think that you have to look at this is to not be the nervous person outwardly. I mean, all the same skills that you use in life to advance your life in are all the same here. We're going to have real conversations. We're going to ask smart questions. So if I didn't sell a lot of real estate and I wanted to talk to agents, which is where I'm at now because I don't sell a lot of real estate anymore, and I pretty much am talking to all new agents, brand new agents to me, not new in the business, but people I don't have any personal relationships with. I've already talked to everybody that I know. I think that ship sailed about 5 weeks of being at the company. I just ask questions. You like Caldwell Banker, you like Keller Williams, you like your own brokerage that's 100%. That's great. What do you like about it? The 100% is great. You have all your short-term problems solved. What about your midterm and your long-term issues? What is the stock of your own brokerage worth? How many agents have you added? How many agents have you lost? What's your scalability? What's your compounding growth? And you're going to find there's going to be a lot of answers where they don't know, or it's zero. So I think that asking smart questions about their business. Do you bring all your own business, all your own lead generation? What tools do you have? What kind of technology is provided at your company that you hold a value to? What kind of mentorship and coaching do you have? What kind of referral network do you have? Do you guys collaborate? We use Workplace. This is how we collaborate. I've got agents that have done $2, $3, $4 million of business by checking their Workplace emphatically throughout the day. So if anybody has any concerns about how much they sell, I would say don't be concerned about that. That is not the conversation. The conversation is what do you like about your brokerage? And then what do you feel, what keeps you up at night? What's worrying you? Because frankly, the more money you make, the more money you're going to spend. And then you're going to be exhausted by how hard you're working. So you're going to reward yourself with material things and fall into the American trap, which is so cliche and so exhausting and so common. And I mean common like almost 100% of us. So that might be an important thing. Let me see, Sam, could you go through your top 5 objections? Yes. Okay, so so the ones that I hear all the time is, oh, I need an office. And then you ask them, well, are you still on a flip phone? What do you got in your pocket there? And, oh, I'm on my iPhone. Well, isn't that where you're doing most of your business? Because frankly, I mean, I'm doing almost all of my business on my iPhone or on my MacBook. Oh, yeah, but I still like to go in and see people. And then we say, all right, well, we have 2,000 Regis locations throughout the country, so you can always go into an executive space, show your EXP affiliation, and be able to use their executive lounge, meet clients, have coffee, put your stuff down, get away from the dogs barking and the kids crying and stuff like that, right? In addition, we are a brick and mortar supportive company. I think one thing that people don't represent very well is that EXP is pro brick and mortar. They're just not going to force it down your throat and then take out a big portion of what they can recycle back to us. I'm in Mooresville, North Carolina, which is a town of about 45,000 people. We have 5 offices within 10 miles of my house here, and another 7 or 8 offices down. I see Holly Evans is in the crowd. She has a beautiful, beautiful vintage building that she's reconfigured into an EXP office. I mean, a bunch of us have offices. Other objections. I love my broker. Well, I mean, I actually love the owner at the company that I work for. We used to have Martini Tuesdays, and we would go out and have martinis every Tuesday. And the problem is that I didn't love the fact that I was going to be doing that till I was 85 years old. So I actually chose something that was better for my family versus loyal to somebody who's not going to be able to create a retirement plan for me. And in some cases was probably worried about her own retirement plan. So that's another thing. What else here? Commission splits. We get a lot of people that are 100% commission splits. That is great, but that still falls right in line with all of our pain points that we have. You are worth what your pipeline says. And I like getting paid for what happened yesterday and not what has to happen tomorrow. And I think that's a big shift. There's 3 different types of positions that you hold when you're starting a business. We become technicians, and then we become very good realtors, right? So at some point you're like, listen, this whole brand of realtors is a lackluster group. I can do this better. I can be more honest. I can put commission last and the client first. I can educate clients and set expectations. I can be accountable. And you become a realtor and you go out there and it's well received. Oops, am I going on too long? Rob, I'm going to wrap this up in just a minute, just in case.
Oh, you're great, man. Do whatever. It's your class. Okay. Go for it.
Cool. So anyway, so what happens is you're out there in the world and you're selling real estate. So you become a great technician, and then you said, okay, listen, first of all, I can't work buyers anymore because I can only work one buyer at a time. So I need to be a listing agent. That's where I get all the branding, right? List to last. That's where all the big names are. I can leverage myself. So you become a listing agent, and then you hire a buyer's agent, and teams are very, very tough, right? So the best people on your team leave and compete against you, and the people you wish would leave stay forever, right? So we've all been there. So you start leveraging your real estate team, and now you're a manager, right? Because you're managing buyers agents and admin and closing coordinators and ISAs and managing the company that you work for. You're leading in every direction. So the best technician is out of the field. That's you. The worst manager is you, because you're not trained to be a manager and doesn't lend itself well to you normally, not if you're a very good salesperson. And then no one's the entrepreneur. And we've been finding a lot of that's happened. We brought over the KW owners in South Carolina. We brought over RE/MAX owners in South Carolina. We brought over 4 or 5 huge boutique real estate companies that sell 130 to 250 homes per year. We brought over another real estate company. He's in a non-compete, so I can't tell you what it is, but it's one that we've all heard of. So we've got big brokerages coming over here saying, hey, there's no profitability when you pay the $15,000 lease to 9 employees and you have a vacant office here. There's no money in this, right? So there's a lot more to having a franchise or a brokerage than just having your name on the sign or being known for being the owner of it. It actually should be making money. That's why we did this. At EXP for $149, I'm able to have an organization that defies geography, that defies all of my liability, all of my support, all of the education squarely upon my shoulders, and I'm able to compound, not yearly, but monthly, in a way that is never been offered in the history of this industry. So we have to educate and enlighten people on the fact that there's an alleviation for the headache of what we experience in this industry, and it's called EXP, and it's not perfect, right? There's not a perfect company. It's a very, very, very good company that's getting better, but there is no perfect company. It's not going to solve all your problems. You actually still have to work very, very hard at it. But if you do, you're going to be able to develop some residual income that can far exceed what you can do by yourself. And last year, my revenue share was higher than any gross commission that I've ever had any year I've sold real estate. And that's a pretty amazing thing, considering I don't have an office and I'm sitting here on my laptop in the master bedroom of my house while my wife and kids are outside in the living room, right? Pretty cool concept.
Hey, Rich. It's Brian Hatch from Canada. I'd like to congratulate you and Barry in opening in the UK. And you started to talk about, towards the end of your speech here, about real estate companies like broker owners, for example. And I'm actually talking with a few, but they're not really paying much attention to me or giving me the time. And I want to know, from your experience, how do you attract a broker owner to come into EXP and bring in all the people that are working for that company?
Yeah. Okay. So these are the mountains that you have to move, and this is actually what's fun. This is the most fun part of it, because now we're playing chess and not checkers, and the stakes are high, and there's a lot of moving parts. So you have to ask them a couple key questions. What's the main reason why you own your own brokerage, right? Because if it's to have your name on the sign and to have a place that you have the nice office at, we need to know that about them, because we're going to have to tailor in that part of the conversation, right? But if it's to be able to make money and leverage yourself and grow far beyond what you could do on your own and to be able to scale, well, then you have to ask them the next question, which is, how many agents have you added in the last 12 months and how many agents have you lost? When you reconcile those two numbers, their growth is very, very small. I know that's a blanket statement, but I promise you that is probably the rule of thumb. So what you have to say is scale. You have to scale this thing out. So I use myself as an example. I brought over 50, if I was to start my own company called Rich Tomasini's Real Estate Endeavors, okay? And I went out there and I brought over the same amount of people that I brought to EXP. Say I brought over 49 people. Well, first of all, let's remove all the people that are not in Mooresville, North Carolina. So that's half of them. So I would have had a brokerage of 24 and a half people, right? And in that 24 and a half people, I would have lost 8 to 10% of them per year. And I would have added some agents as long as I was working and constantly trying to be growth minded and meeting with the right realtors. And that is the picture painted of a brokerage. Now look at it through the EXP platform and, insert your brokerage here. And I've got not just myself, but every single agent at your brokerage has the exact same opportunity and the ability to scale and grow your company. And now, because we have a virtual campus, we can do it outside of your zip code. So my 49 people brought over 200 level 2s. And those 200 level 2s brought over 190 level 3s. And those 190 level 3s brought over 166 level 4s. And that's how I was able to grow. I'll give you an example. Look at the stage. Barry Pulver, I met through the same lady that introduced me to my wife 6 years ago. So she's been quite an important part of my life. I met Barry. He came to my Christmas party when he was still working at another company, December of 2017. He finally came over in 18 after doing his own research and push here or there. And because of Barry, we are now in the UK. And I got to know Adam, right? And Adam is super dynamic and super, super smart and intense and all things that I like, right? And because of Adam, he's introduced us to other people. I mean, I met a bunch of these UK guys up in October, John and a few other guys there. So we've got the ability to, it's like 7 degrees from Kevin Bacon. Everyone's been in a movie with somebody who's been in a movie with someone who's been in a movie from Kevin Bacon. That's revenue share. And you're able to expand and compound in a way that is pretty incredible. So when you have that brokerage owner, you got to say, look, you're getting 30, 40% of each agent, but it's a finite number. And they're not really your agents. They're agents that are with you now, because they're going to be exposed to things like EXP and other concepts. So you're not going to keep them all, right? And you're going to get a big portion of all of them. So it's like having 30 listings at 3%. Not a bad deal, right? Well, I'd rather have 3,000 listings at 1%, and they're not all in my backyard. They're diversified throughout the entire country, or all 7 countries, right? So you got to kind of show them big picture. Yes, you're going to make less money per agent coming over to EXP, because all of the support, all of the lead generation, the workplace, all of the stuff, all the liability that's going to be shouldered by your state brokers or your province broker is going to come off your shoulders, and there's a cost to it. But now that you have this, you're able to grow and scale. So the brokerages that have come over that have sold 150, 200 homes per year pretty much weren't in the black until they were at about 8 to 10 months at EXP, if they were focusing on revenue share a little bit at least. So
one more question regarding what you're talking about. In Canada, I'm not sure, it's probably similar in the States, but when you approach somebody who is under contract with, say, Remax or another company, apparently you have to be very cautious in terms of, they may have legal obligations to their agreement with the parent company. And so where would you start with that? I mean, you have to approach them cautiously, would you say?
Yeah, no, you have to. Yeah, actually, I don't approach them at all. I mean, the boutique brokers can be approached, but the franchise owners, we bring in leadership, and we've got the best. We've got Stacy and Dave and Jason Guessing. These people respond, So yeah, you have to go through a process there. I remember when Mary Frances Coleman was the president. She gave me a pretty good tutorial on what's the process on doing that, and you really can't be making these blind calls talking to them. My experience bringing over brokerages, I brought over 4 brokerages directly, but none of them have been franchise box stores. The ones that were Keller Williams and Remax and this one other company, all pretty much came to me through one of my other agents, and they were already engaged. So I was able to help support, explain teams, and work through the logistics.
Yeah, and if I can chime in as well, so there's a couple of questions in regards to, do you reach out cold effectively? And my thoughts to that, before I want to get your thoughts, Rich, conscious of time, but my question would be, why do you need to? The wonderful thing, how you grow your business that doesn't have to cost a penny nowadays, is social media. How, in large part, how we got this UK thing going is that who am I, right? 3.5-year realtor here in North Carolina. People know who I am, and people know who I am around the world through engaging with the right people, through putting videos out there. People know me, people know my story, and again, people know EXP through how we put it out there. So we have this amazing opportunity, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all of this to tell a story. So what really, cheers, Rich, sorry about that. So what becomes cold actually becomes warm and understandable. You don't need to be reaching out to people who don't know you. If you are connected with people who you already are, look at your friends on Facebook, look at your connections on Instagram. If you strategically put content out there that gets people to know you, know your story, and see a value, your conversations become an awful lot easier. And when you're picking up the phone, as opposed to 2 people picking up the phone, you'll get 7 or 8 people picking up the phone because they feel they know you through what you are doing and the story you're telling on social media.
Yeah, I mean, it's a triangle of things that you have to do. You have to do prospecting, calling cold agents, and inviting them to something to learn more, right? Not pitching over the phone. 2, you have to build a brand and video and social media about what you're passionate about this company and showcase that. And then the third thing is that I think you have to continually be leveraging relationships to have other warm conversations. If you can get those 3 things in sync, you can grow and grow and grow. And we do all 3 here in Charlotte. At least a lot of us do. So, okay, for time's sake, I can be verbose, and I ran on there for a good little while. Follow us on Facebook. Reach out to Barry Pulver, to myself. Check out, I have a YouTube channel that shows you explains revenue share in 4 minutes. Very easy if you don't feel like explaining it or learning it. We've got different videos on there that we created for our team to share so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. And lastly, we'll try to teach this class again if there's any interest down the road, and have a little more time and probably be a bit more prepared for it.
Now, this was awesome. And for Brent and James, they're at a meeting in Philadelphia today. Thanks for doing the class. That was honestly, it was great. I will get this recording crunched and get it out there in the next 30 minutes or so.
Thank you so much, Barry. Thanks for
Pleasure.
Rich, how do we tune into you, Rich? Your call. the link, but it didn't really make sense. Is there a link that you can?
There's actually, yeah. So on Zoom, there is. I gotta go. My phone's in the kitchen here, and I'm in a different room, so you didn't hear the background noise. But there's a Zoom meeting ID on every Zoom call, and if you transcribe EXPREAL, that will take you right into the meeting live. Okay, or hit me up on work chat, and I'll just click the link and copy it and paste it for you.
So it's 833 EXPREAL.
That's right. Same link every week, and I talk about the first 17, 18 slides, and Barry talks about the other. We're done in about 43, 44 minutes, and I say we've grown a few hundred agents through that.